Okay, this is, okay, it's a little hard to see from this angle. This is a standing welcome reindeer. Okay, so he is decorated to the max, and he's got this amazing little stand that will put him right there, anywhere that you want him. We've decorated him with real jingle bells, little lights. You could glitter them. We've even got the twinkle lights that you could also wrap around his antlers if you wanted to, or around his base, or whichever way you wanted to go. But he's also available as a key, and he is just so much fun. And you could put him by your Christmas tree, by your front porch, in your kitchen, wherever you want. And there's a countertop height one as well. So he's a fun project. We've got some stencils to make it easier, and some embellishments and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, I've got the North Pole shaft, or the candy cane shaft, whatever you want to call it, based with white. I'm going to open up with my pop top, the winter blue, and if it does it correctly, it'll leave a little nick. This time it didn't. Generally speaking, it'll nick the plastic for me, and then I can peel that right off. Okay, I'm going to do a nice big float with winter blue and walk it in a little bit. I'm going to have to let that side dry until I can do the other side. Conversely, if you wanted to do this a different way without floating big floats, you could dry brush your edges and just bring that color in. Saves you from blow drying and waiting and stuff like that, so I can work on both sides at the same time. This is just another approach. There's two ways to skin our candy cane. Okay, and then if you're floating or if you're dry brushing, then you can repeat with French grape glue. And that'll just be over here next to the edge. And I think that might need to be floated just to get a nice smooth look. But you could get the basic color there and then float. Okay, I've got my stencil laid down. You want to be really careful about keeping your table clean when we're doing a front and back kind of project. You could lay a towel down, and that helps minimize some of the mess. I'm going to use Santa Red, and then I'm going to stipple on my paper towel to prevent it from bleeding under. So I want to make sure that I'd rather do 2 passes and not have to clean up than to have to clean up. So just go ahead and give it a couple goes with Santa Red. Okay, so what we're going to try and do is save ourselves a little bit of effort here. Let's go ahead and do a second coat. And while it's wet, we'll go into our highlight and our shade colors and try to kill 2 birds with one little stone. Look at that random hair out of there. I'll go into another brush and pick up the highlight color. And I'll go nice and soft at the edges. I don't want it to look like a furry candy cane though. And then we can go with another brush. Oops, that one's still wet. I have a bucket. That one's wet too. I used this in yesterday's project. I have a bucket full of these things. We'll go into soft black and just right along that edge. You know, I think I'm going to like the soft black floated. Let me go back over it with my red. That's not bad. But it's a great way to shortcut if you don't like floating. So I'm just going to blend them together. And it's also a really nice way to drag that color in if you want it in. So. All right, that's kind of cool. Okay, I've got all 3 done. Let's take a little peek. Awesome, look at how cool that is. Now that's an easy candy cane. Easy, easy, cheesy. Okay, I'm going to do the same technique that I did on the candy cane without a stencil. I'm just going to stipple the nose, and then I'm going to shade while it's wet using the soft black. Just around the base. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever tried to float on a round object before, but it is a real drag. So this is much easier. Okay, then we go into the middle and we soften and drag that color where we want it. Whoops. Or put it back. Okay, then we set that down. And we just finish the top. Key is to get it to stand still. I think I'll probably sand this just a little bit so that it doesn't have put his little shine up there, and then we'll soften that. There. Let it dry. Okay, I've stippled my base with antique gold. Make sure it's wet. And then I'm going to go into banana cream. I'm going to do my highlights. Wet and wet. You start getting into these kind of big areas, it's nice to be able to move paint around without having to do too much manipulation. Okay. I'm going to end up doing some floating and stuff on this, but the less amount of hard work I have to do to move my color, the happier I am. Okay, then we'll go into another brush in burnt sienna. And we'll shade the base. This is probably definitely going to be where I'm going to want to glaze up, but we can get the deep color this way and then glaze the other way. Just walk that color right on up. Into our base. Okay, and then walk that across. Okay, that's a good start. Okay, I've got my guy standing up now, so I'm going to paint him kind of assembled. I've got quinacridone gold that I'm going to use, and this is the media fluid acrylics. And these are so transparent. I played with them on my Artist Club magazine, and totally you can see through everything. Every one of the colors is transparent. So what I want to do is glaze, see if I can get this, glaze on the base here. Notice how rich that is compared to the other side. Love, the colors are so vibrant. Okay, so then I'll just let that dry. Okay, we're going to take our banana cream. We're going to float to finalize, just to give it that lovely kind of popping brightness. And see, that's just lovely and simple. Okay, fair warning, if you stipple on super duper heavy paint on your base and then you put it on while the paint is still sort of wet, then you're not going to be able to get your base back off. So make sure that your base is going to slide on nicely, and if it doesn't, sand, because now I've got mine stuck on there, which means it's going to travel to conventions and everything else stuck. So not sure what I'm going to do about that. But don't put your base on until you're done painting. Make sure that it slides on easily, and don't pound it on, because if you pound it on, it's going to be stuck. So that's why we send me ahead to do these things, right? So that we learn. We're going to do the green stripe using our stencil with Hauser medium green. And because this is a skinny stripe, you do want to make sure to tap off on a paper towel, and then don't tap super hard. On the thick stripes, you can tap really hard in the middle, but do make sure skinny stripes, for whatever reason, have a tendency to get more out of control. Okay. So I'll get that based, and then I'll come back. In the meantime, I've got this based with Hauser medium green. I'm going to use olive green to highlight the center area. I want these colors to be kind of fun and Christmassy and whimsical and stuff. And while I'm at it, I've got my green light bulb, so we'll do all of our greens at the same time, and that just saves time. We'll go ahead and just highlight the center of our light bulbs. And we want these to probably get just a little bit out of control as far as having a light. You don't want it to be subtle, because I'm going to glaze over the top of it to give it more of a glowy kind of look. And make sure that you do both sides. Okay, I'm going to take my sticky mesh, and I'm going to add some texture that doesn't show. So, I think I might have worn this piece of sticky mesh right on out, because it is kind of full. I'm going to have to switch to a new piece. Yep, that's not showing because I just have, number one, my highlight is too high, so I could go into something like, let me find something. Okay, and while we are waiting for me to figure out what color I want to use, let's get our highlight and stuff on our key. I'm going to go dirty brush because there's not a very big space. Okay. And I guess I should wet that first, otherwise it's not going to blend. So dirty brush into olive. And I'm not going to dirty brush into the dark, or I won't be able to do my next stripes. Then dirty brush into Hauser dark. And if you just kind of pounce and let it fade, it'll take care of fading itself. And then just a little bit of black green at the edge. Okay, so that's what we've got for our stripes. Nice, like it. All right, so we're going to go into our Hauser dark green, and we're going to shade. This green is a really interesting green. It's got a lot of really strong pigment in it, so it kind of electrifies things and makes things a little bit more fun, especially the Hauser greens. Okay, as we go about our light bulbs, we're going to shade the back end with just a lovely little float. By the time you get done with all the pieces, it'll be time to flip them over and do the other sides. And I think we'll put a little smidge of color on the front. Just a little teeny bit. I don't want it to get too dark, but that gives it good dimension. Okay, I think I want to add a little bit of this color to the base. Got a little bit of schmutz there. Schmutz is my newest favorite word for stuff being where it doesn't belong. Okay, I'll add add some here. And I think we'll probably go ahead and darken each side with a little bit of the black green, just a touch. Just to really bring that in where it's going around the corner. Okay, we're going to do the red bulbs with our same highlights as our collar. Okay, so that's just going to be a little bit bright, but I said I was going to glaze, and I think I will. If you want to avoid chalkiness, which is that look of like the paint has a little bit too much white in it, then you can just either glaze over it after, or you can mix a little of your base coat with the highlight color. I'm going to use a compass to mark my band. Compasses are lovely things to use. This one has a lid on it. I know that those of you who watch the videos all the time hear this all the time, but if you've ever poked yourself with the edge or the tip of the compass, you will know how valuable that is. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and tape this line and base coat and get all that done, and then I'll tape these separately. Okay, the ink sweepers make fast work of getting a base coat on a long skinny item. And they're just a foamy thing, and then what you do is you just rinse them out with cold water. Never use soap, because they will, soap would be like a foamy in your sponge. Just do a couple of coats. It'll probably take 3 coats to get these done. Okay, to get my highlights, I'm not going to highlight the band at all, but to get my highlights on the green, oh boy, I really messed myself up with this foot on. It's kind of hysterical. We're actually going to modify. One thing about me painting on the prototypes is we end up seeing where there are little issues and we can modify them. So this will be modified to be a little bit looser for the painting technique that I'm showing with it. So we'll go ahead and just highlight the middle with the olive. And then I can go on the other side of my brush and go grab some of the, those are dark. And walk it in. And I probably would give it just a little float with the darkest right there. And I'll repeat on the other side. Okay, so we're going to take our 2 green bands and treat them exactly like we did the other green stuff. And so we'll just highlight in the middle. I think we're going to add some kind of little stripe or something, some little detail, something fun. And I'll pick that up a little bit more, and then I'll go ahead and float my shading, because I don't think this is, I don't think this one needs to be stippled. Okay, then our floating, just drop on down and we'll walk it out just a little bit. Okay, so we are going to take some camel and this Italian sash brush, and I'm going to pounce it off on my palette a lot, and then we're going to make some fur texture by just touching. And you'll rotate your brush so you don't make a pattern. Brushes usually will try to make a pattern. We don't want that. And you reload. Okay, we're going to shade all of the bits. We're going to start with honey brown, or this is milk chocolate, sorry. And then I'll just kind of make everything seem a little bit like family. Kind of warm it up. And if we need to, we'll put just a little bit of the dark chocolate as a reinforcer. Okay, we're going to shade the little hooves with some soft black. Just where they come out there. Okay, so we're going to shade his little ears with milk chocolate. Shade on both sides, and then we'll shade his head as well. And we'll have to do some shading underneath those antlers, but we'll wait until we get some drying time. I can't say how important it is not to put your base on before you check it for tightness. This has been an awkward project, having to do it all put together. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take some bead and glitter glue, which is like a glitter magnet. Comes in this tube. I'm going to stipple over my white snowflakes. And then I will sprinkle with Glamour dust over my glitter tray so that I can put it back in my bottle and not waste. Tap off. Okay. Leave it to dry. Okay, we're going to take banana cream and highlight our bulbs. Okay, we're going to shade with burnt sienna. Same way that we did on the other lights. And we'll do the nose of it as well, but we'll have to wait for this to dry. Okay, we're going to dry rub his antlers with milk chocolate. Give him a little bit of shape and form. Okay, and we're going to repeat that with cocoa. If I can find cocoa. So you can repeat dirty brush. Just right on up the center. If you went straight to cocoa, you probably would have too light a color. Okay, I'm going to shade the antlers with a little bit of soft black. Especially where they kind of come out of the head there. Come over the top. Just going to do those edges, give it a little bit of fun. And then just repeat. You can walk it out just a little bit if you want to. Got his eyes based with Bahama blue and white and black. And now I'm going to use the Phthalo turquoise, which is, I think, the most beautiful color on the planet Earth, to shade his eyes. And my brush might be just a little bit too big. Let's trade off into a short bright. You have way, 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 way more control if you use a short bright than a long bristle brush. That time of the day where we have a glare going on. Okay. Okay, we're going to shade inside his ears. I've got things just laying on here for placement to see how I'm liking it. I'll shade under his ears with a little dark chocolate. We're going to dry rub his cheeks. I can't decide if I'm liking Santa Red or the coral, so I'm mixing the two of them. Okay, so that's going to be right on the apples of his smile. Okay. And we can give him a little kiss of pink on his ears. Yeah, he's a cute little guy, huh? Okay, we'll line his smile. I can actually just take this away. A thinned lamp black. Okay. And there's this cute little doofy smile. Cute. Okay, we're going to go with red for our letters. those stippled, and we'll do antique gold for our 1 mile. Okay, and show you a little trick that I have is I put a couple rows of tape underneath a ruler. When I want a straight line, I thin my paint. I lay my brush, my ruler down, and then you just make your line. Even pressure, and you go straight across. Okay, and we're going to shade or highlight across our, and actually, you know what, we're going to have to do this with a stencil because of, there's way too many interfering things. So we'll just go ahead, lay our stencil back over. I could do it, but it would take me forever, and I don't want to. So I'm not gonna get relined up. You can go ahead and re-wet. And then you're going to do that wet and wet thing where you just go into your highlight color. Oops. And walk it down. Okay, we're going to go into some fresh white paint and use our Easy Dot tool. I'm going to get some little dots going on. I'm using the number 1 hole. And I'm going to do some big and some little. And so I'll do my start dots where I want them big, and then I'll go back in when they start shrinking and get them little. Wipe off my dot tool when I need to. Okay, next we're going to shade the underneath part here with some burnt sienna. I want it to have just a little bit of depth, but I don't want this to be screaming, hey, I'm a big gold thing. Just shade right underneath. Walk it out where you need to. And I think maybe right underneath the green band might need a little bit of shading as well. And then we can give it a little bit of highlights. Well, we've got a shade underneath. Let's see where these things meet too. So we'll say this one's on top of this one. So we'll just round that out. And then we'll go into banana cream to highlight. Okay, I'm going to add some drop shading with the Bahama Blue. I am walking right through my floats. Rat buckets. Okay, I've got a bridge. Hang on a second. Pardon my head. That's what these things are for. Dots and floats. Okay, and that just outlines the letters. Alright, I'm going to start gluing on his bits, but I wanted to show you that first what I did is I put wire up through here, and I'm going to drop some glue in here, and then press that down, and then I'll repeat it on the back side so that I get, whoops, stand, so that I get good, that I get these all lined up exactly where the holes go. And then I'm going to wire my bells onto there, and then I'll snip off or curl the little bit of wire that I have left over. Okay, I'm at the finishing touches now, and I wanted to add some crazy light bulbs to his antlers. And what I can do is I can use these little white lights that curl, and we've made the, the hole big enough so that it will go through, and you can twist these little guys onto your lights, and then you've got, you know, lights and lights, if you will. And I thought that'd be really fun. Now we have a new one. This one has got a timer, so you could put the battery pack, you know, just attach it to the back if you don't want to make it multi-sided. But there's these ones that come, they're not on a timer, and you have to use the little watch batteries, but the super small pack. Okay, so you could just put a little piece of Velcro right there behind his shoulder and nobody would ever see it. You could even paint the casing if you wanted to. So whichever way you go, it's a really cute idea. Or you could just use wire.